Hello, beautiful friends. Today I have another guest, Liam Phillips, also a Talk to the Entities facilitator. My name is Simone Zücker. I'm also a Talk to the Entities certified facilitator and a certified facilitator with Access Consciousness. And I'm just would like to introduce you all the facilitators that's playing around the world. So Liam, where are you facilitating classes?
Oh, right now I'm in New Zealand. Not doing so much facilitation here, but I'm having fun riding my bike and then off to Brazil in about 3 weeks.
Cool. So since when are you a Talk to the Entities facilitator?
Sorry?
Since when are you facilitating the classes? Like, I think you're one of the first ones, aren't you?
Oh, I've been facilitating Talk to the Entities since, I don't know, the first Talk to the Entities facilitators training in London about 7 years ago, I think 6 years ago. I've done a little bit of facilitation for about 2 years with that. Then I dropped out and then I started again about 3 years ago, I think, and been having lots of fun with it.
And what has changed for you since you're facilitating this area?
It's been amazing. It's really truly been amazing because Shannon O'Hara, the founder of Talk to the Entities, has been asking me to look at the capacities that I have with entities since I've known her about 12 years. And it was only about June last year that I really stepped into that potency. My life was sort of like not showing up the way I wanted it. Mm-hmm. And I had to make some choices. And one of those was to really look at stepping into that power and potency that many of us have with entities, especially if you're watching this. You probably have a power and potency or a capacity with entities, to talk with entities, to receive them, to communicate with them, to let them run your life. And
what? That's the capacity, or is that the refusing of the capacity?
Yes, that's the one. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. And I guess I got to that point where a lot of us humanoids tend to paint ourselves into a corner before we make a choice. And so I got into another one of those corners, which is not a good thing, not a bad thing. It was just something that I chose. And then I chose to really step up into the Talk to the Entities. And what changed was I went from a totally doom and gloom, I must be doing something wrong reality, to a reality of, oh my God, I have just got so much capacity in this area and I've been using it against me. Instead of creating a future, creating more ease on the planet, not just for myself, but for anybody who's interested in this particular area.
What does that mean? What do you mean by you create more ease with step into your capacities with entities? How is that related to each other?
Yeah, that's a good question. Wow, where do I start with that? Well, ease is actually what our natural being is. Everything is like ease and joy. And for our lives not to be that, we have to really put up a lot of walls and barriers to that ease. And so we start to create complex, very interesting, quote unquote, lives where we use a lot of the energy and a lot of our capacities against ourselves. And really, does that contribute to the entire planet? It certainly doesn't contribute to yourself, but does it contribute to the planet as well? And no, it doesn't. So when we actually start stepping into our powers, our potencies, our capacities, and the ease that really is, it actually contributes to things like nature spirits, to the planet in general, and to consciousness, and also to other people on the planet. So so many of us have been told that if we step into our capacities or our potency, that something bad is going to happen. And that's actually a huge lie. It's not. Like I heard Dr. Dane here talk about this once, and it was I'm just paraphrasing right now, but it was sort of like every time that you make a choice, does your life get better or does it get worse? And I've looked over my life, and every time that I've actually made a choice to change, my life gets better. Every time I try to hold back that choice, yeah, I see it. Yeah, every time you try to hold that choice back, or delay it, or try to make what's not true for you true, that's when things start to get mucky and yucky and not so much fun.
Yeah. And also, like, I can remember that conversation as well at Facilitators with Shannon. Like, if you go in that heaviness, you invite unconsciousness and anti-consciousness, and you're way more connected to your demons than to consciousness. Like, if there's so much heaviness, is that choosing consciousness, or is that choosing something else? And yeah, all the lies that are around, like, wow, there's so much.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess one of the things that really came up for me when I was in the doom and gloom, I had a lot of demons around me, and they were telling me all sorts of fun and exciting things, and it wasn't until, well, I made that choice in June, and then I actually stayed with Shannon at a house in December when we were at Facilitators in Australia, and which was really great, because when Shannon has made a demand in her life not to have that sort of heavy demon energy around her. So being in her space allowed me to have more space with the demons that were there. And so I actually had a conversation with the demons, and it basically went like this: Liam, you're nothing without us. You're nothing without us. You will die if we leave. Your sexualness is all due to us. Your money is all due to us. Your life is all due to us. Your relationships is all due to us. And if we go, your body will die. And that was the one thing that I knew that was a total lie, because over the years I've created, I'd like to say a commune, but more connection with my body. And I checked in with my body, and I knew that was a lie. And so, yeah, so how many of us are listening to those voices of,
let's clear some of them, huh?
Yeah. So why don't you clear a few of them? I've forgotten the clearing.
Demon clearing would be: go back to from whence you came, never to return back to us, our bodies, this reality, this planet ever again. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pog. All nine shorts, boys and yawns. If you hear this voice is telling you what's wrong with you, what's not working, what you can't do without an end, like, you're the creative source of your reality. So that's just bullshit talking to you. So, yeah. And then if you use the demon clearing, like, they're just like, oftentimes it's like people have to do that by themselves. Like, you invited them. Like, as a facilitator, you can it kind of, but what I found out, oftentimes it works way better if people said, you know what, I'm done with you. You can go. That's a choice. Or you can't force people into a choice. It's up to everybody to choose for themselves. Like, am I done with that heavy shit, with that lies, with that density, with that anti-consciousness and unconsciousness? Like, or would I like to have more of me?
Yeah, and one of the things I found, like with demons, is that they like to keep you in the doubt or the fear or the anger and the rage and the fury, those sorts of energies which take you away from who you truly be. And what's really cool about demons is that if you can't clear them in the speed or how you think it should show up, then they like to tell you that they're wrong. So I guess that's one of the huge things is if you have any sort of voices going on in your reality, and some demons have been with people for hundreds and thousands of lifetimes. So it's sometimes I'm going to use the word difficult to know whether it's actually you or another entity that's talking to you, because it feels like you.
Feelings.
Yeah, feelings, which we know are lies. So so if it feels like you, is it really truly you, or are you just aware? Are you perceiving something else? And in this case, we're talking about demons or entities that are not really contributing to you in a creative, fun way.
Yeah. And I mean, on how you can just be aware, is that me or is it something else? Like if it's heavy, like if you being you, there's a lightness, there's a space, there's just like playfulness, you know? And if it's not like that space and it's like, then you can always ask, what is that? That's not me. What is that? What's going on? What am I aware of here?
Yeah, that's really cool. And we were talking about that just before this Zoom. Like what was the heaviness? And heaviness is not a wrongness, it's an awareness. And I get that a lot of people misidentify that, and then they get heavy, or there's an awareness of heaviness, and it's like, that can be a sticking point rather than, that's heavy. Okay, cool. That's an awareness. Okay, what else is possible here? And going into the question, so you never make that heaviness, what is it? Solid, real, and true.
And yeah, heaviness is also an awareness. Like it's in different ways. Like if you look for yourself, asking you a question and it's heavy about you, like, is that me? And it's getting, it's different. The light and heavy you can use in many areas or different ways, I have to say. Like if it's heavy, and it's often like, is it me when it's heavy? No, I know I'm light and joyful. And if I'm not that and I'm choosing to be heavy, then I can ask, what's that? And if you ask, like, if I'm choosing this and it's getting heavy, that does not mean that it's wrong, you shouldn't do it. It's more like, that could be a choosy choice. Like, if there's heavy, that does not mean you should not do that. Just have an awareness like, that could be that something will show up that's not total ease, which is not wrong. But oftentimes, if you're willing to go there anyways, and you're through that heavy thing, what else can show up then? I mean, how many people are avoiding heaviness? It's also it's an awareness, not the wrongness, as you say.
It's interesting you talk about that, Simone, because when I went to my first Talk to the Entities class, which was donkeys years ago, I really wanted to go. I was in Brisbane, and Shannon had just started doing introduction classes and stuff, and I really wanted to go. But by the time 7 o'clock came round, I chickened out, and because it was feeling so heavy, and it was and I'd sort of like misidentified those feelings. I just was so uptight, and it wasn't awareness I was having, but it wasn't my uptightness. It was all of those entities around me that didn't want to be clear, didn't want to let go of control of me. And luckily enough, Shannon was in Australia for a couple of weeks that time, and she did another intro class 2 weeks later, and I made a choice. I made it was more like a demand. I'm going to this because I know if there's that much resistance to going to something, there must be something there. So I went along to the class, and in the first 10 minutes, I had that realization, it wasn't my heaviness, it was my awareness of other entities, which was really, really amazing for me in that time.
Yeah, I had exactly the same. Like I've tried also I think 2 or 3 times before, like going to a class, and 2 weeks before it starts to get heavy, like, fuck, like if it's that heavy, oh no, I prefer to have it my life easy, you know. But then with June last year, like, but there's more. There's something pulling here, and I just done a lot of stuff online there, and yeah, and it's like how many entities come then to you, like, oh, now you open the door, I'm here, boom, in hundreds and thousands, and like, ugh, that's a lot. Yeah, but that, like, at the first place, there was just information missing for me. Like, and if you, like, people watching now, having that energy of like, oh, entities classes are so fucking heavy. Is it the class, or what are you aware of there? And what are your capacities to really step into more of you?
Yeah. And can I comment on watching you with that?
Uh-huh.
I'm not a what do you
Yes,
call
whatever.
it?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, well, since you've made that choice, which was about the same time that I was making my choices. Interesting, huh? And like what you've been doing with Talk to the Entities since then has like exploded, and this is the thing that Simone is talking about, is when you actually make that choice, the doors open. At first it can feel a little overwhelming, but with these tools it can be easy. You can have it easy, and you don't have to use all of that energy to stop your capacities or your power and potency with a capacity with entities, or and it might be whatever your capacity is with bodies, entities, energy, space, consciousness.
And that's so cool. Like, I mean, you have the awareness of, and that's so cool that I'm watching myself. Sometimes, like, if it's that heavy, I build up the barrier and like, nah. But if I don't build the barrier, I'm like, okay, cool. Heavy is not true. Like, what can I be and do and create here that would be fun and ease? Like, that would be more of me? Like, how would I like to have it? Like, if I don't buy it, something is more powerful. Like, if heaviness is more powerful than me, that's not true. That's also a choice I can make, but that's not my reality. Like, okay, cool. If that's not true, what can I choose here? What else is there? Yeah.
And that's one of the things, like with demons, they love that sort of energy. They love to twist all these things around, so it always comes somewhere. You always are wrong in the computation, and we do that naturally as humanoids, but we also people that have capacities with entities, they also use that energy to keep going back to the wrongness of them. And that is not fun. I don't know about you, Simone, but I've had days where I don't want to get out of bed. I'm sort of sitting there and I put my blanket over my bed and, you know, maybe go to sleep and escape this reality. And that's not fun. That's not creating my life. And yeah, with these tools that Talk to the Entities, access consciousness, it can be a lot easier, and it opens up more and more and more change. And I don't know about you, but I love that. I love changing all the time. If I have to do things more than twice the same way, it starts to get boring.
Yeah. Like, you do an awesome call. Will you do it again? Probably not. Like, yeah, and that's so funny. Like, I was like, I'm traveling a lot, and I since a few months, it's a sense of like, it's not so much fun in my place here, and I have new neighbors. And I just this morning, I went into bed, was total happy, and this morning, like, not that I don't like to get up, it was like, so it's a familiar density. Like, what's that? That's not me. What is that? What's going on here? And I have a sense like my neighbors are smoking pot or something. And then you invite really all kinds of stuff into your body and the place you're living. Like, okay, cool. If that is, and I'm just, then I love how Shannon always says, get to work, you know, like you have an awareness, now what? Like, it's up to me. What choice would I like to make with that awareness now, you know? I can buy into going into victim, like, or no, okay, cool, I'm bigger. What can I choose here? I wonder. I'm in question with that.
Yeah, and that's cool. It's cool that you brought up entities and drugs, or or you mentioned drugs there, and that's one of the things when we choose to do drugs is we open up the doorway to us stepping out and an entity stepping in. One of the things that I'm looking at a lot lately is me being the dominant entity in my life, because I am aware that I can step back and allow an entity to take over my body. And sometimes that's not a wrongness. It's like you can channel in that way, and you can get information and awareness, but you still have to be the dominant entity. You still have to be there with the big boots on at the end of the day and kick them out if it's not fun for you. And that's what I love about that's what I love about these tools, is that it gets you to be more of who you be, that dominant entity, and then you have a lot more choice, and you're not being at the effect, or you're not being the victim to people next door who are smoking pot and inviting a lot of interesting energies and entities in their life.
Yeah, and it's like really, and that I knew before. Like if I choose to open that door to the entities, that's a choice to be present 24/7. It's like I knew if I go to that class, open that door, and then choose to check out, they will run my life, and not in a good way, not the way I would like to have it. Like that was so clear for me. If I open that door, then I choose to handle everything that's coming up. Yeah, and it's cool. I mean, I love it.
Yeah, and the other thing is if you don't choose to open that door, that's totally okay. Ooh. But how much energy are you using to keep that door slammed shut? Yeah. Like it starts to get, it's like I'm in my bedroom at the moment, and all the doors and the windows are closed. They've been closed all day. I've just got home, etc., and it's stuffy in here. So it's a lot easier to open the door and let a cool breeze in and clear all that stuff. And then you can be in, I'm going to use the word, in control of your life, not in a way of being a control freak, but in a way like a cook, like a cook needs to control the heat on the burner, and to control when to put the ingredients in, and that's what I'm talking about with control here, is being able to create your life in the way that is fun and joyful for you, which will also create more for the world. And I see that in this reality, well, I was always taught to put everybody else first. Not that you've ever done that, Simone. I'm the only one that's ever done that, and by putting that everybody else first, I put myself last.
I was not even in the part of the calculation. It's like all about
oh yeah, well that's cool. Yeah, yeah, and but it's actually the other way around. When you be the dominant entity and you create the life the way that you would like to have it, without being pushed around by all these other entities, then it's actually a contribution to everybody else, rather than cutting yourself off and divorcing yourself more and more and more and more until you're just nothing.
And it's so true. I mean, on the other hand, it's my life. It's your life. We have all our own lives. Like, are we going to waste it or start to choose to live it, whatever that looks like and means? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the other thing with access and talk to the entities. It's not about the facilitator telling you this is the way it should be, this is the way you should do it, this is the way you should have a relationship with an entity, this is the way that you should have a communication with the entities. It's more like, okay, you have this capacity. How can we empower you to use it so you can create the life that you would like to have? Not the life that I want you to have.
I mean, and that's so interesting. We learn that it's on my side that you're happy. What? That's your choice. Like, how much of a hard work if you think you're the one that is responsible for all the happiness in the world? No, you're just responsible for your happiness. And if you choose to be happy and choose what works for you, that will be a contribution to everybody else as well, because they see, oh, that's an opportunity, that's a possibility. I have that as well, for me, in my way. But just open up the energies, what is, yeah, like if you choose to be more of you, what a gift for the world.
Awesome.
Cool.
I mean, just as you speak about that energy, you can just sense the barriers that have been erected start to dissipate. And like we do a lot of clearings in Access, but when you start to be more of you, it's you become the clearing. Like with Shannon and Dane and Gary, it's wonderful to be around them because they have made that demand in their reality that those demons back right off and are not running the show. And so you can sort of like, and that's a really great contribution to my body when I'm around people like that. And as you spoke there, it was just like, wow, the energy that just came up was friggin' amazing. How does it get any better than that?
Yeah. Cool. Wow, I think kind of good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Liam. That was awesome conversation. I like, wow, what else is possible? And I mean, there's no right, no wrong. People can choose what they choose. We just would like to invite you to have a look. Like there is, if you have capacities with that energies, what can open up for you that you could not think about even, yeah? There's so much more available.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you, Simone.
Bye, thanks for watching, everybody.
Ciao.